Alright, so as some of you know, I'm a dumbass. And by dumbass I mean I recorded the video for, I don't know, it was like 40 minutes of video, and I pulled the headphones out of the jack, and it was like, oh, well, as punishment for being a dumbass, I have to do the next cast in an accent, and I'm not very good at accents, but I'll do this one just for fun. And I find that most people, when they watch a video, they like finding people with accents, and they watch the video with a little bit more interest, because it's strange, it's different, it's something weird to listen to. And we'll do this video. I don't know what accent this is, but it's one I can do a little bit, I guess. And this is a Terran versus Protoss. It's actually the one I cast, the one with no audio. So I put on the video that it was a really big fail, but and people were like, yeah, it's a big fail because there's no voice. You did a cast and it's just a soft humming sound in the background that reminds me of home. I don't know where you live, and I don't know what sound you're hearing. You could be deaf or crazy, or you may have eaten something off the floor that's making you hear those things, but I don't know what it is. But yeah, if my video reminds you of home, I'm glad that home reminds you of two alien races battling each other for supreme dominance of the universe. I don't know, I want to come to your house for dinner. But anyway, I wanted to recast this video, this game, because it was a good game, and something tremendously funny happened, and I wanted to show you, because I doubt you watched the entire game with static background sound. I doubt that happened. So I wanted to point out that the first thing that this player did was not get a stalker, and I was like, you know, we watched the barcode Terran player line up at the top of his ramp, and no stalker is going to get scouting information from that, and he can't take the tower either. So you'll notice that no stalkers on the tower, and actually he gets 2 sentry right away. Another thing that I wanted to point out was this Terran player. If we watch him very closely, he does a lot of things. Actually, look at this. I missed it. Oh, I missed it. I'm gonna go back. So quickly, I want to point out, like, he's getting all these. We're not seeing a stalker from the Protoss player. We're seeing an expansion. This pylon here gives away the fact that he is going for an expansion. It's one thing that you want to point out, because he wants to be able to warp in on the low ground, but not put his pylon at risk. The Terran player actually never saw that there was no stalker, and I want to point that out. And so I'm not sure why he tried to push with 6 Marines without a fucking clue. There's no stalker. I just don't get that. So he's going to push up the ramp. And there's not much here for Ion, but he plays this beautifully. Watch, 1 force field, 2nd force field goes down. Zealot actually manages to cut up the 2 Marines, and he's going to pull back his 2 sentry, 2 stalkers warp in, and this will be more than enough to deal with it. I don't know what the purpose of this harass was. You're going to see him save that single stalker, and then Stalker Sentry will be able to focus that down. Doesn't lose a single unit other than that Zealot, but it doesn't matter. The Zealot is completely, you know, expendable. That is what that is. So these 2 Marines will pull back. They'll pull back to their base, and a bunker will go down. Now he's very, very, very lucky that the Protoss player followed this up with a Robo Bay. If he had gone, you know, with 2 gateways, so 5 gates instead of the Robo, or even 6 gates, which is not uncommon, that could have been a nasty counterattack that Barcode would not have been able to resist. And like I said, he didn't even know that there was no stalker, no initial stalker. So those those Marines, those first Marines, could have been kited from the first tower back to the natural expansion of the Protoss player. So I'm really not sure what was going through the Terran player's head. Now, like I said before, I feel like he was map hacking, but I don't know for sure, and I'm not going to go into his cam to find out. But I'll tell you why I feel that way, because look at him build up this. First of all, not worried about a counterattack, not really. Knows for some reason, I'm going to go to his cam just for a second. So he sees the Robo Bay. It must have been a scan, but he somehow knows that it wasn't Immortals in production. He somehow knows that the Protoss. Did he scan? See, he doesn't see that. So he somehow knows that it's there's no units here. He knows that it wasn't Immortals. He knows that he's going for Colossus, and so he crosses the map and you know, he went for this attack. But how did he know that there was no gathering of forces here? How did he know that there was no defense, no army for the Protoss player? If there was any kind of gateway army with like 1 or 2 immortals, this would get squashed. Like, the Protoss player would come down his ramp after force fielding, counterattack and crush the Terran player for what could be a 3rd win in this game, if you ask me. So the Protoss player will, you know, buy his time at the top of the ramp. The Terran player cannot push in. We are pushing up on the 10-minute mark, and what that means... By the way, there's a Colossus out now. What that means for the Protoss player is medevacs. The 10-minute mark is when you really need to watch for those. Any bio play can easily lead into medevacs at the 10-minute mark. If you are worried about factory play with Blue Flame Hellions, you're looking for those Blue Flame Hellions with the medevac drops at about 8 minutes. 8 minutes 30 seconds on a longer map. So we do see the medevacs out, and what this means for the Protoss players, he needs a good amount of stalkers up in the main base. 6 stalkers is exactly the amount it takes to one-shot medevacs, providing there are no upgrades on either the stalker or the medevacs. So these Protoss units are sitting in the main base with the stalkers here for defense, and watch the blunder here that the barcode makes. This is something Terran players should watch out for. There is a so here he is. The medevac gets vision of a high ground, is a pylon here, and the Marauder, because of the high ground vision, will take a shot at the pylon, actually giving away his position. Now the Protoss player has an observer there and he has an army in position, but the Terran player didn't know that, and if that wasn't the case, he would have given away his drop long before it ever was in position to do damage. So, something to keep in mind as a Terran player: don't let your units get too close if you're gonna, you know, get vision with the medevacs. So he backs up, unable to do any damage. Watch him drop this factory here a long time ago, and he will be preventing an easy expansion with the probe. It's kind of like using this as creep. A lot of players will actually sacrifice... Oh god, I have to yawn. A lot of players will sacrifice a factory as scouting, or as just a, when they're about to push up the ramp, send the factory up for vision, so that force fields can give vision of the high ground, so that low ground trapped units can fire at the high ground units, and they sacrifice it. But what we're seeing here is that factory being used somewhat as creep. I don't know why he left it off. He might as well have left it on the ground for just a bit longer to prevent down the expansion, just a few seconds longer. This is going to burn down anyway. He's going to try to land it here, but there's nothing to repair it. And actually this Terran army here is getting quite sizable. With the medevacs and the Vikings, it's a good combination with the Marauders too. It won't have to worry about the Colossus too much, but Storm is on the way, so excellent transition from the Protoss player. Like, he's timing that quite well. One thing I want to say is the Terran player's got to know that transition is coming, that when he sees the Vikings in the air, which he does, I mean, he's got the observer, and you just, as a Terran player, you have to assume the observer is there against a good Protoss. I mean, this is high level play. Ion is Grandmaster, I believe. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure that he is in Grandmaster. So, as we see this this Viking cloud, you've got to assume the Protoss player knows that's there, and so you've got to kind of assume that High Templar are on the way, so you've got to adapt and get ghosts. I mean, you've got to assume your opponent is doing the right thing. So yes, so you can't sit on that. Oh, we do see a Ghost Academy, so he is kind of adapting. You get one good fight out of Vikings without the ghosts. You can do one good engagement. But we see that the High Templar are already there, and the Storm goes down on the army. Barcode is getting picked apart pretty hard. The Vikings actually are going to land because there are already no more Colossus in the fight. And as this engagement goes on, we can see a drop here from Ion. Going to land 2 High Templar, which storm the SCVs here at the natural, and he will be warping in a few Zealots to do a bit more damage. The Terran player are forced to pull back, and you can see that these Zealots will be doing quite a bit of delay here, as there cannot be a resupply until the zealots are dealt with. And we will see the warp prism continue to harass, and a follow-up push into this natural here from the Protoss army, but actually going to pull back, which I think is silly. And that army will get away. I think he could have done some more damage here, but maybe not. And wow, this is an Archon now, and so 2 zealots and an Archon would do quite a bit of damage. Going to actually kill. Wow, he picked off a Viking and got a little bit of bio there too, as well as delaying mining here and killing a lot of SCVs. If we take a look at the unit source tab here, we can see that the Protoss player is quite a bit ahead here. The town player losing a lot of units. A lot of units. Not a good situation for the town player. And town player on 3 bases. Protoss player now working on getting up a 4th. Colossus in the mix, as well as a good number of High Templar upgrades, are in good shape. 3-2 compared to the town players 2-2, so just ahead by 1. But we can see, wow, so starting on the shield, I'm just looking at the upgrades here in the production tab. I thought the town player was a little bit farther behind than he is, but he's not. He's actually in good shape, absolutely good shape, considering that Chrono Boost is being used on the forges for sure, and as we can see, it is. It's trying to get those shields out, trying to get durability out of the zealots, and yeah, for sure. So, what was I going to say? Yes, this is a. I'm excited for you guys to see how this game ends, because believe me, it's not how it seems. So right now the game is pretty even. The town player trying to take this expansion, but obviously couldn't. There's just 1 zealot in place, and that's all he needs. Going to try to land a command center here too, and 1 zealot is all it takes. Once again, taking a look at the production here from the Protoss player, we have what is it? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 gateways, which isn't that much. And what are we seeing here from the town player? We're seeing wow, not that many racks, and nothing in production in those racks, as the player is almost maxed out. I'm not sure why he's not finishing that max. Maybe going to finish, as you can see, with actually Vikings. But yeah, it looks only 9 barracks, and then the rest of factory and starport. But I mean, in 9 barracks it means more than 9 barracks because of the reactors, of course. And yes, this this zealot and pylon going to delay this expansion here, so kind of getting revenge on him for the factory early in the game here at the 3rd base. So we're actually seeing a lot of gateways going down now here, and the Nexus building double expanding. He's got this expansion here. This expansion is going down, going to guard it with many cannons, and I love this play by the Protoss player, lining up with cannons. And cannons don't do much on their own, but they stop the bio ball in place for a moment, long enough to be stormed, and then the cannons actually will finish off the damaged units from the storm. And another expansion that can't be dropped. And look at this, a small bio force coming in to clean up the single zealot and met with a Protoss army, and the command center will have to pull back again. Being on this high ground, it puts the Protoss player in a bad position, and oh, we saw a feedback on the Ghost, brilliant feedback actually, and the Colossus in a bad position. He's going to get focused down. Look at that, Colossus goes down fast to the Vikings, and now the Colossus are actually caught in the back. But still a 200 Protoss army, and being able to warp in right at the front makes this Terran army a little bit disadvantageous, not being able to reinforce itself the same way. The entire army stimmed makes it very soft, which would have been the opportune time to engage, as the Protoss player still has Storm on his Templar. Not sure why he did not engage. This command center still not landed. I don't know why. I don't know why. Oh, I'm going to take a drink. So we see here the Terran player going to engage against the Protoss player. Actually going to tear apart a few pylons. And the Protoss player putting down forward cannons, which is definitely good. I mean, if you have the money, it's an excellent play because it really cuts off the center of the map, gives you support, and absolutely why not. Breaking off a few zealots to go do damage here at this expansion, which is excellent play. And if you're capped as a Protoss player, you kind of need to be doing things like that if you've got warpins to spare. And I'm surprised that the Terran player isn't trying more drop blast and actually going to hold position with those zealots so that they do not tug back towards the bio and actually remain to cut up more SCVs. But it doesn't even matter. Look at the mules that drop down to support the Terran player. And okay, this is the moment that I want to show you, because fuck the Protoss player. Look at the mana nexus as we go down. 5 mana nexuses go down. And you can see, watch this, the Terran player will actually focus them down, and the Protoss player will not cancel them. We're seeing EMPs and snipes on valuable Protoss units. The mana nexuses are actually stopping Protoss melee units from pushing forward into the Terran army, and they will cause a loss in that engagement. Storms going down on the bio, but the psionic storms don't do much damage to the ghosts actually, and the cannons are just not enough. And we have a big Terran army coupled with Vikings in the air that will be able to clean that up completely. I have a text message. I won't stop the cast to read it, but just an important message that I just had to quickly read. But yes, so we will see this engagement here, and I'm just flabbergasted by the Protoss player who would give up the game with mana nexuses. That is why mana nexuses are the most ridiculous thing, because Protoss cannot fight with zealots in a choke. He just cannot. It's like Zerglings, he needs an open field. And this huge Archon ball comes out but just vaporizes. It's just, I want a slow motion replay that again. It just fucking melts to the ghosts, and these Colossus cannot get away from the Viking Marauder on the ground. It just can't do it. And so we will see that Viking, the Colossus fall. My voice starting to go, and now we will slowly watch as the Protoss player has a Terran army push up into his main base. Was gonna go for the fortress out of habit, but realizes that the Protoss player is maxed, no upgrades necessary, and will actually not end up going for those. So he storms on the ghosts, then pushes up with the zealots, so kind of a decent play, but the Protoss player's own buildings are acting as a weapon against him. The ghost will cloak, and will finish off quite a few more zealots because of it. So he needs some kind of protection, and he can't get it, and a big reinforcement push from the Terran player will actually, what looked like was going to be a cleaned up Terran turns into reinforcements, and a difficult situation for the Protoss player to clean up. These ghosts are racking up many kills, 7 kills on this cloaked ghost. This one was also cloaked, it's only got 3, but those were important kills in this situation, and 2 more Archons morphing in. One actually does end up finishing, and the second one finishes as well. The first Archon dies, the second one rejoins the fight, and it looks like this game is going to balance out once again. 98 supply for Ion, 81 supply for the Terran player, but the Terran player still cannot land. Look at this, 2 command centers unable to land, this one becoming a PF and is well secured, and not sure how this game will conclude, ladies and gentlemen. That's not sure. I know exactly how it finishes, because I've only cast this game.
Ghost reporting.
Swapping out these command centers, actually going to land. Going to land these out now that they clear out the zealots. I'm still an observer here. and a small force here thinking about attacking this planetary fortress, but sees what it is and backs off, knowing that they cannot do any damage there with the PF in place. A couple Zealots and High Templar will pull in here. Will he land any storms? No! One storm goes down. Doesn't quite kill all the SCVs. Will he drop a second storm? He does! What is the Terran player doing? All the SCVs and mules go down, except for one. But a small squadron of bio infantry will come and clean that up. I want to take a look at the income tab for a moment. We see 23 harvesters to 61. The mules go down, and we'll see how that switches back into the Terran player's favor as the income goes back up to 800, 900, 1,000. Yay, mules. And it will stay there because the energy replacement on the orbital commands late game is more than enough to. And I feel like this was poor control by the Protoss player. Why attack the PF? What a waste. I feel like he just should have amassed an army on the small income that he has, as he is tied on mining bases. He could have built an army to match this, but instead he tried to harass the PF, got caught from behind by the Terran army, and was easily squashed. Look at this. Protoss fight. Oh no. Ghost killed the High Templar and pushed into the cannons. I think he would have been fine here if he had kept his High Templar alive for the storm, while the Terran army tried to fight the cannons. That's the only way he could have survived that, I think. But now we will see the Terran player take down this Nexus for free, and a bunch of Colossus randomly on the map that will pull back now to prepare itself to deal with that army as it tries to push for this expansion here. I'm not really sure what the plan is here for the Protoss player. He's put himself in a pickle, and I don't feel bad for him because you know, Mana Nexuses, that's a dick move. It's just not what you should be doing at all. I think you need to be kicked in the balls if you're going to be dropping Mana Nexuses. So yeah, we got a bit of a bio army coming through the middle of the map, and little tiny pipsqueak army for the Protoss player meets himself with another planetary fortress, which I don't know what he was thinking, and he tries to run into another base with some zealots, and yeah, well, I really don't understand the thought process of the Protoss player. I want to punch him in the face. I do. And so Colossus will try to engage this army. All the EMPs miss, so great dodge by the Protoss player. Storm's going down on nothing, really. Trying to kill the Vikings, I think, and he does kill them all. Colossus trying to clean this up, and they will do a pretty good job, but the Terran army's bio is so strong. And look at the cloaked ghosts. They will actually be able to focus down all of these Colossus. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, 3 going down to just cloaked ghosts. And yeah, we're gonna see. No, does it die? He's shooting at the wrong Colossus. There we go, he cleans up the one who's got lower health. And the Zealots will pick this apart now that 2 observers race over to assist. But man, if he had detection, he would have been fine, but he didn't, and he lost all those Colossus. It looks like my phone is being a bull dyke, and because of that, I'm distracted. But yeah, there's not much more to say. The storm goes down. Actually, if one more storm goes down, it does, and cleans up a lot of Vikings. Well, it's like 2 Vikings and a medevac, I think. But not a good situation at all. And there's the GG from Ion. I wanted you guys to see this game because I wanted you to see the Protoss facepalm. I hope you guys didn't already watch the other game. If you did, I'm sorry. I should have erased it. I should have deleted it. But I didn't. And so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you didn't hate the accent. And I'm SSN Incarnum. I'm not British at all, or whatever the hell that was. And I'll see you guys next time.